The lab smelled like blood and fire. Dr. Raina Sol leaned over the microscope. Her hands shook. Her eyes were wide. The blood on the glass slide wasn't normal. It wasn't alien. Not fully. It had human genes inside. It's not similar to human. It was human. Ricker stood behind her, arms crossed. Explain it. Dr. Sol spoke slowly. The warden. The one you killed. It used to be a man. Human. Maybe a soldier. Maybe a child. I don't know. So they're turning us into them, Juno asked, his eyes still damaged from the last mission. Yes, Sol said. They infect the body, rewrite it, keep the flesh, erase the mind. Like making puppets from our own kind, Juno muttered. Rik Har didn't move. He had seen enough death, but this was worse. They weren't just killing humans. They were recycling them the next day. The bunker received a signal. It was old, weak, full of static, but it had a name attached to it. Raina, not Dr. Sol. Raina, the scout. The one who died in the Mumbai Tower. Everyone froze. She's dead, Monroe said. Play the message, Riker ordered. The screen lit up. A video feed appeared. A dark room. Metal walls. Figure stepped forward. It was Raina. Her eyes glowed blue. Her face was calm. But she spoke in a dead voice. Do not fight. Your struggle means nothing. Return to the towers. Let us fix you. The flesh is weak, but it can be changed. Then she smiled. We are already inside you. The video ended. No one said a word for a full minute. Then Rick here spoke. They're not just attacking from the sky, they're growing from the inside. Dr. Sol ran more tests. She used Rikar's blood. It was clean. Then she checked Corin's, one of the wounded fighters they had rescued. She gasped. Inside his blood, tiny glowing threads moved like worms. He's infected. Corin sat up on the lab table. Feel fine, he said. That's the trap, Sol replied. You feel nothing? And one day they wake it up, and you're gone. Ricker walked in, looked at Corin, then looked at Sol. Can we stop it? I don't know, she whispered. But we have to try. In the days that followed, Earth continued to burn. More towers went dark. More rebels rose up, but so did the Twisted Ones, humans, reshaped into alien flesh. They walked like machines, they bled like men, and they screamed with the voice of the Elysier. Every fight hurt more, and every victory felt smaller. Meanwhile, Rikar followed a hunch. He remembered the cube, the old alien artifact he found in the desert. Years ago, it reacted when near the aliens. It had shown him visions. He connected it to the main bunker system. The cube glowed. It showed a map, not of Earth, but of the original invasion. Thousands of years ago, it showed tribes of wild humans fighting back, using strange weapons, fire, even sound. The Elysier are lost, but before they left, they did something terrible. They planted seeds in the blood, in the bone. We were infected long ago, Riker said, and we never knew. It slept inside us, Sol added. All this time, that night, Juno had a seizure. He screamed in his sleep. When they ran to his room, his eyes were glowing. He punched a steel wall. Bones cracked, but he didn't stop. Rick here tackled him, injected him with a cold blue serum. Juno passed out. Sol looked at Rick here. Where did you get that serum? I've been preparing, Rick here said. Since Moscow. Since I saw the first one. He turned toward the map. This war didn't start now. It started long ago. We just forgot. Later, Juno woke up. He was normal again. I saw something, he whispered. While I was under? What did you see? Sol asked. A place, not on Earth. Black skies, red rivers, a giant creature watching us. Waiting where? Akira asked. Juno's hand shook as he pointed at the cube. The cube showed. A star system, far away, not human, not alien, something in between. That's where they come from, Rikar said. That's where they hide. And that's where we go, Sol replied. The world had reached its edge. Cities burned. Towers rose higher. The Elysier had stopped pretending. Now they hunted openly. In every country, in every corner, People were being taken, turned into twisted machines wearing human skin. And yet, it began to fight back. Not with armies, but with rage. It started with a child in Brazil. Her father had been taken by the towers. She threw a rock at a drone. The drone fell. People saw it. They picked up sticks, metal rods, fire. They fought. They won. Then it happened again. In Lagos, in Hanoi, in Lahore, Paris. The rebels were not soldiers. They were humans. And they had seen the footage. Rickar's. Footage of a god bleeding inside the Arctic bunker. Ricker stood before a wall-sized screen. Small red dots blinked across the map. Rebel attacks. Every hour, more dots appeared. Juno limped in, his eyes still healing, but his mind sharp. "You started something," he said. "No," Ricker replied. "They did. I just reminded people we're not sheep." Dr. Soul walked in with data. The infection rate is slowing. Their control is slipping. People are breaking the link before it takes hold. Because they're angry now, Ricker said. And anger is freedom. But the celebration didn't last, because something new was entering Earth's orbit. The bunker shook, lights flickered. Soul ran to the scanners. Something huge just dropped from the prime ship. A new tower? No. A creature bigger than the Warden, stronger, faster. It landed in Central Europe. The ground cracked. The skies went black, and with it came a voice. "I am the Herald. I will end the fire." The Herald was a beast of war, 15 feet tall, covered in armor grown from crushed worlds. It moved across the land like death itself. It burned every rebel camp it found. It destroyed cities not to take them, but to make a point. Hope began to flicker until Ricker stepped forward again. A rebel transmission went live. Ricker stood before the camera, scarred, tired, burning with purpose. They sent a monster. We'll send a message. He turned to face the people. This fight is not about weapons. It's not about gods. It's about us. Our blood, our fire. If we fall today, we fall free. But I don't plan to fall. The plan was madness. R.I.K. Har, Juno, Monroe. And Soul would lead a direct assault on the Herald's current location, near the ruins of Berlin. Not to fight, but to trap it. They had built a weapon, not a bomb, a cage. Using alien tech and ancient human designs, they created an energy trap, one that could pull the Herald inside and detonate with a core-destroying pulse. One problem. It had to be armed, manually. From inside, they flew into the zone under cover of night. Smoke covered the sky. The Herald-witted giant. Breathing, listening, it had already sensed Ricker. "The fire walks," it said. "I will eat your soul." Ricker smiled. "Can try." They lured the beast into the kill zone. Juno set the trap, but the Herald moved too fast. Monroe was caught, slammed into a wall. She didn't get up. Soul screamed, firing everything she had. Useless. Ricker grabbed the core detonator. "I go in. You won't make it out," Soul warned. "Then I make it count." Ricker ran straight into the storm. The Herald roared. It charged, but the moment Ricker stepped into the cage, the trap locked. The Herald was caught. "Now!" Juno shouted. Ricker pressed the button. The ground exploded. The sky turned white. A scream shook the heavens. Then silence. Later, rubble shifted. A figure crawled out. Arai Kahar. Alive but barely. Half his suit melted. But the Herald was gone. Dead. The rebels saw it. The world saw it. A god-killer lived. And the fire was rising that night. At the bunker, Dr. Soul patched Rickar's wounds. "You keep surviving," she said. "I have more work to do," he replied. "We lost Monroe," she said softly. "We'll lose more," he answered. "But now they know. We're not afraid anymore." Juno came in, limping, holding a data crystal. "We cracked part of the prime ship's signal," he said. He placed it on the table. It projected a message, an alien voice. "The human disease spreads. Initiate total harvest. Bring the prime down. Everyone froze. There. Sending the main ship, Sol whispered, to burn Earth. Rickar stood, his body weak, his will unbroken. Then we bring it down first. The sky broke open at 3:14 p.m. It was a normal day. People were driving, eating, working, watching their phones. Then the clouds turned gold. The sun disappeared behind a black circle, and from the center of the sky a massive ship came down slow. Silent, shining like a mountain made of light. Everyone stopped. They looked up, their mouths open. It didn't look like a human ship. It had no engines, no wings. Just one smooth surface, glowing with strange blue lines. It floated above the cities, one over New York, one over Tokyo, one over Islamabad, one over every major place on Earth. Then the voice came, not from speakers, not from the ship. It came from inside everyone's mind. We are your gods. We have returned. Kneel, people screamed. Some cried. Others dropped to their knees, shaking. Phones fell from hands. Cars crashed. Power grids failed. In just 1 minute, the world was silent. No gunfire. No talking. Just fear. The ships didn't move. They didn't attack. But every human felt the pressure in their skulls. Something ancient had woken up. Like something bigger than death itself had come. They called themselves the Elysier. They said they had created humans. They said they had ruled Earth long ago, before time was written, and now they had returned to guide humanity again. But in a small hidden bunker deep under the cold rocks of Greenland, one man stood alone, watching everything. His name was Rickar Graves. He had no god. He had no fear. He watched the news streams from every country, leaders vanishing, cities falling, soldiers dropping weapons, and praying. Rickar didn't pray. He poured a cup of black coffee, took a sip, and whispered to no one, "Gods don't bleed, but I'll make them." Rickar Graves was no ordinary man, former elite soldier. Special ops, black projects, the kind of missions the world never hears about. 10 years ago, he disappeared after a secret war in the ruins of old Moscow. People said he died. They were wrong. He had seen signs back then. Old carvings, strange tech under the ice, ancient bones that didn't belong to humans. No one believed him. Now, it was all happening. But Rickar wasn't surprised. He had prepared in his bunker, hidden under 500 meters of ice and stone. He had weapons, data, old maps, and something more dangerous than all of it, knowledge. He knew what these so-called gods were. They had come before, thousands of years ago. They ruled the skies, made pyramids, burned empires, but back then, something stopped them, and that something was human rage. History had buried the truth. Books were burned. Myths were twisted, and humans forgot. Now, the Elysier were back using fear, mind control, and false religion to break Earth without firing a shot. But one man remembered. Rickar stared at the glowing map on his wall. Red dots blinked alien ships over major cities. A soft female voice spoke from the bunker's AI system. Human surrender rate, 86%. Remaining resistance, 4%. Estimated time to global submission, 9 days. Rickar chuckled. They're fast, but not fast enough. He opened a steel drawer. Inside was a strange weapon, not human-made, old, rusted, but still powerful. He had found it years ago in a lost temple under the sands of Arabia. It wasn't a sword. It wasn't a gun. It was something else designed to kill the Elysier. Once, he wiped off the dust. We'll see if it still works. Outside, the world changed quickly. Within 2 days, the Elysier built tall, black towers. In every major city, they floated above the ground, humming softly. People were told to enter the towers and receive blessings. Some did. Those who came out were not the same. Their eyes glowed blue. Their skin was pale. They walked like statues and spoke with the voice of the Elysier. Mind slaves. The media called it the Great Merging, but Rickar had a better name for it. Harvest. They weren't blessing humans. They were turning them into drones like bees. In a hive, and soon, there would be no one left to fight. unless he did something. Ricker stood in front of a metal door. Behind it were 4 people, former soldiers, hackers, survivors, people who didn't bow to fake gods. He pressed the button. The door opened. "It's time," Rickar said. "We hit back tonight." They looked at him, unsure. He held up the alien weapon. "They bleed. I've seen it. And we'll show the world." The team nodded. No more fear. No more prayers. Just fire. And the will to burn false gods. The meeting room was cold and quiet, deep under the Arctic ice. In a hidden bunker, built before the First World War, 7 people sat around a metal table. They were the last leaders of Earth, who had not bowed to the so-called gods. Most had lost everything. President Dar of New Asia had seen his capital swallowed by one of the alien towers. General Monroe of North Command had watched her army fall. Without firing a shot, her soldiers had simply stopped and knelt. Dr. Reyna, soul from South Europa, had decoded the alien messages, only to find her lab vaporized days later. All of them had run. And now? They were here hiding like rats in a frozen grave. Rick Hare Graves stood at the front of the room. He was not a politician, not a scientist. He was a weapon. "They are not gods," he said. "They are parasites, mind-ditters. They need us to kneel, or they die." Nobody spoke. "They didn't come to rule," Ricker continued. "They came to feed." Dr. Soul looked up, her eyes red from days without sleep. "Feed on what?" "Our minds," Rickar said. "Our will. Our belief. They take your thoughts, your soul, turn you into something else." President Kadir slammed his fist on the table. "Then how do we fight? Bullets bounce off them. Don't reach their ships." Ricker stepped forward. He pulled out a small black cube and placed it on the table. It began to glow. "This is not human tech," he said, "from the last time they came." Everyone leaned in. Thousands of years ago, they tried the same thing. But humans, early, angry, wild humans, fought back. Tribes, warriors, mad kings. Somehow, they won. He tapped the cube. A small hologram appeared. It showed a giant alien falling bleeding. Blue and a man with fire in his hands. The records were erased. Story became myths. Gods and demons. Heaven and hell. But they were real. Humans made them bleed. General Monroe narrowed her eyes. "So why did they leave?" "Because they were afraid," Ricker said. "Afraid of something inside us. Something they don't understand." Dr. Soul whispered. "Free will?" Rickar nodded. "They can control sheep, slaves, worshippers, but they can't control rage. Not real human rage." Screen lit up behind them. A live feed. One of the alien towers floating over Mexico City. Hundreds of people walking inside, calm/silent. The blessed. When they came out, their eyes glowed. Their faces were blank. Minds erased. "We have days before that's the whole planet," Monroe said. "Maybe less." Ricker walked over to a locker and opened it. Inside were weapons. Strange weapons. Half human, half alien. Built in secret, using old forbidden tech. "We don't have armies," Rickar said, "but we don't need them. We just need one win, one dead god." On camera, the others looked at each other, skeptical, tired, broken. But then Ricker pointed to the map on the wall. A red blinked. "This is a minor outpost. Weak signal, low alien activity. If we strike fast, take it, and kill what's inside." He looked around the room. ... "We show the world that gods can die." Later that night, the team stood inside the launch. Bay.6 hand-picked fighters, former special forces, scientists, rebels, ghosts from forgotten wars. Rickier handed out gear. "We don't wear flags," he said. "We don't fight for countries, fight for the species." One man, a young hacker named Juno, asked, "What if this is a trap?" "Then we die," Ricker said, "but we die free." The ship took off, silent and dark. Rising through the ice like a shadow, their target, Outpost Theta, a small alien relay station in the ruins of Old Cairo. Their mission, infiltrate. Kill, and bring back proof. Proof that gods can bleed. Back in the war room, Dr. Soul looked at the glowing cube again. Inside it, the hologram of a burning city flickered, ancient humans screaming. Alien giants falling. She whispered to herself, "We forgot the first war." But they didn't. The ship flew low over the ruins of Cairo. Dust covered the ancient stones. The Nile had dried long ago. All around the city, nothing moved, except one thing. A dark alien tower, shaped like a black tooth, floated above the ground. It pulsed with cold light. Small alien outposts, the kind used for signal control, mind scans, and human blessings. Inside the stealth ship, Rickier Graves checked his gear one last time. His eyes were calm, focused. In and out, he said, "We take the tower, kill the handler, and get proof." His team nodded. 6 people. No backup. No rescue. Just one shot to show Earth the truth. Minutes later, they landed. The outpost was guarded by glowing drones, but Juno, the hacker, shut them down with a signal pulse. The team moved fast, silent, and trained. They entered through a vent, shaft near the base. Inside, it was cold and alive. The walls weren't metal, they were organic, breathing, pulsing like veins in a giant's body. Reyna, the young scout, whispered, "This place, it's not built, it's grown." Ricker didn't reply. He already knew. The Elysier didn't build ships or towers like humans did. They grew them like tumors. Alien tech was alive. They reached the central core, floating inside a glass chamber. Was an Elysier priest, a tall, thin creature with 6 glowing eyes and long, silver limbs. It floated in the air, arms open like it was praying. The moment it saw Rickar, its eyes turned red. It spoke into their minds. "You are children, you do not understand. We are mercy. We are order. Bow now, and be saved." Rickar raised his weapon. "We already have a god," he said. "It's called freedom." He fired. The alien screamed, not from the wound, but from the pain. The blast hit its chest, and black-blue blood sprayed across the chamber. The team opened fire. The god fell dead silence. The team stood over the body, breathing hard, shocked. Juno whispered, "We did it." Rick Hare looked at the cameras. They had recorded everything. "We show this to the world," he said. "This ends now." Back in the hidden Arctic base, the footage went live. Across every screen, in every surviving city, humans saw the impossible, an alien priest lying dead. Blood everywhere. Ricker standing over it. "They are not gods," he said on the broadcast. "They are parasites. They bleed. And we will make every last one of them pay." For a moment, Earth was quiet. Then something happened. People began to resist. Small groups broke into alien-controlled towers. Some humans began attacking the drones with fire, rocks, whatever they could find. The spell was broken. But so was the silence, because the Elysier responded. In orbit, high above Earth, the prime ship awoke, a ship the size of a continent. It pulsed like a dying star. Inside it, a voice older than time whispered, "One resists. He carries the fire. He must be erased." The sky turned red in some places. Earthquakes began. The alien towers started glowing brighter. Something new was coming. Meanwhile, Dr. Reyna Soul studied the dead alien Ricker had brought back. She scanned its DNA, its nervous system, its tech-flesh. Her hands shook. This isn't just an alien," she whispered. "It's a parasite inside. A host. A living body controlled by something else." Juno stared at the scans. "Like a puppet?" "Yes," she said. "But the real controller is somewhere else. Hiding, feeding." Ricker listened in silence. "Then we find the puppeteer." Later that night, Ricker stood on the edge of the ice cliffs above the base. He looked at the stars. He remembered something. A memory from 10 years ago. During a failed mission in Antarctica, He had seen one of them before, buried under the ice, sleeping, and it whispered to him. We were gods, you were dust. Now he understood. Should have stayed asleep, Risher said. The world had seen it now. An alien priest, dead. Gods were not gods anymore, but truth comes with a price. 3 days after Rickar's broadcast, the Elysiae responded. Towers began glowing red. Cities shook. People who had been blessed started screaming, their bodies twisting, eyes turning black. They collapsed and discarded like old batteries. The Elysiae no longer needed to pretend. No more peace. No more blessings. Now they would burn the earth clean. Inside the Arctic bunker, alarms flashed red. Dr. Soul ran to Rikar's room. They've started the purge, she said. We triggered it, good, Rikar replied. Let them come. We'll hit first. He walked to the war room, where a small team stood waiting. Juno, Reyna. General Monroe, 2 new fighters from the Eastern Resistance. They had heard the broadcast and followed the signal north. One of them, a quiet man named Corin, had burns all over his arms. His entire city had been wiped out. He didn't speak much, but when he saw Ricker, he simply said, I want to make them scream. Ricker nodded. You will. The mission this time was different. No more small outposts. This was a strike against an alien command tower located in the ruins of Mumbai. It wasn't just for communication, it was controlling half of Asia's towers. If they took it out, Elysier's grip on billions would crack. But the tower wasn't empty. It was guarded by something new, something no human had seen before. They called it the Warden, 10 feet tall, made of living armor. It moved like a machine but bled like flesh. It waited at the center of the command tower, guarding the core. Rickar's team dropped in by night. No lights, no signals, just wind and dust. The tower pulsed above them like a dark heart. We go in quiet, Rickar said. Strike fast, no mistakes. But as they stepped inside, something strange happened. The tower was empty, no drones, no priests, just silence. Too quiet. It's a trap, Juno whispered. Suddenly the walls screamed, not a sound to signal. Juno dropped to his knees. Blood pouring from his ears. Reyna screamed, grabbing her head. Dr. Soul shouted. They're attacking our brains, shut down your neural links. Ricker grabbed a grenade, not explosive, but EMP. He threw it against the wall. The blast knocked the signal out for a few seconds. Just enough time to run. They made it to the core chamber. And that's when they saw the Warden. It didn't speak. It didn't roar. It just charged. Fast. Brutal. Har ducked as the beast slammed a pillar into dust. Corin jumped on its back, stabbing it with plasma blades, but the armor healed. It's adapting, Monroe yelled. Our weapons won't work twice. Ricker pulled out the old weapon, the one from the Arabian tomb. It wasn't human. It had symbols that glowed red when near the creature. The moment Rickar raised it, the Warden stopped. For the first time, it looked scared. So, Rickar said, stepping forward, you do remember me. He charged. The blade struck the Warden's chest. Sparks flew. Blood sprayed blue and red. The creature shrieked, half machine, half monster, and fell to its knees. Ricker didn't stop. He stabbed again and again, until the floor was soaked in alien blood. The Warden fell, twitching dead, behind it. The command core began to shake. Without its guardian, the tower lost control. Systems collapsed. Mind links broke. 500 million people in Asia suddenly felt free again. The mission was a success, but they paid for it. Reyna was dead, crushed by debris. Juno was blind from the mind pulse. Corin had taken a blast to the chest. Only 3 made it out, but they carried something with them. Not just a victory, a message. They fear us, Rickar said, because we fight, because we burn. And now we know they bleed. Back at the Arctic base, Dr. Soul examined the Warden's blood, collected from Riker's armor. It wasn't pure alien. It had human DNA markers. She froze. They're not just parasites, she whispered. They're using us to build themselves. Ricker turned to her. Say that again? The warden. ... It wasn't fully alien. It was a human, twisted, changed, rebuilt. Juno, sitting nearby, spoke with a broken voice. How many of them used to be us? No one answered because now the real horror had begun. The sky was falling, not from clouds, not from rain, but from a ship the size of a continent, the Prime ship, the heart of the Elysiar, older than Earth, built from a dead sun, powered by stolen life from 100 planets. It had awakened now, it was. Coming down, not to conquer, but to erase, inside the Arctic bunker. Ricker stood with the last rebel council. General Monroe was dead. Corin was gone. Half the Earth was in flames. But the map showed something else, to something new. Green dots, rebel. Cells, civilian uprisings. Human armies returning from hiding. The fire was spreading. This is it, Ricker said. One last move. Dr. Soul stepped forward. We found a weak spot in the Prime ship. A core channel runs straight to its main reactor. How do we reach it? Asked Juno. From the inside, she replied. And it has to be someone who's not infected. Everyone looked at Ricker. He didn't speak. He just nodded. The plan was simple and suicidal. Stealth ship would sneak through the wreckage floating around the Prime ship land. Inside its living hole, Ricard and a small team would go in. They'd carry the Arcora, human-made bomb, using alien energy. One blast. If placed right, could collapse the entire ship from within, but someone had to stay behind to activate it manually, because alien, flesh heals, and it would try to stop them. As they prepared. Ricker walked alone down the dark halls of the bunker. He looked at photos on the wall-owed heroes. Lost cities, blue skies, memories. He didn't care if he lived, but he had to finish this. Not for revenge, for freedom. The ship launched. Under full stealth mode. Inside, Ricker checked his gear. Juno sat across from him. Checking the bomb's settings, Soul looked out the window and saw the Prime. It filled the sky. A massive dark shape, floating like a god's coffin. Lights blinked across its surface cities. Towers. Weapons. But no windows. No doors. Just one mouth. Near the bottom, like a giant wound. That's where they entered. Inside. It was worse than expected. The walls breathed. The floors pulsed. It was alive. But dying. As if the ship knew they were coming. As if it feared them. This place isn't a ship, Juno said. It's a womb. A what? Soul asked. It's not just carrying weapons, he whispered. It's making them. As they reached the core channel. It glowed red. Alien voices echoed in there. Heads turned back. This is your final warning. Cannot stop us. Ricker didn't reply. He just walked forward. Suddenly, the walls shifted. A massive shape dropped down. The Prime Herald, larger than the Warden, built from bone. Metal and screams. It roared. Ricker stepped forward. You are not a god. The creature attacked. The battle shook the ship from the inside. Juno worked to arm the core. Soul provided cover. Ricker fought the Herald. Lone blade against claw. Fire against shadow. He was bleeding. He was tired. But he didn't stop. He stabbed, twisted, burned, until the Herald finally fell. It didn't scream. It simply shattered. But Ricker was badly hurt. He fell beside the Arc core. Juno rushed over. Get out, Ricker said, coughing. You still have a job to do. You're not dying here. I already did, Ricker whispered. Long ago, he pressed Juno's hand to the detonator. Go. Juno stood, tears in his eyes. He nodded, grabbed. Soul, they ran. Ricker looked up at the reactor. It pulsed like a heart, the heart of a monster. He placed his hand on the core. You made a mistake, he whispered. You came to the wrong planet. And then he smiled. Outside, stealth ship escaped just in time. The Prime ship began to shake. The stars went white. The explosion wasn't fire. It was light, pure. Burning truth, the ship cracked, split, screamed, and then it fell. A god died in the sky that night. and Earth saw it. Across the world, the towers shut down. The glowing eyes went dark. The blessed collapsed. Some died. Some woke up. The infection stopped. The Elysiar were gone days later in the ruins of the bunker. Juno stood over a small metal box. Inside it was Rickar's blade, scorched, still. Glowing Dr. Soul placed it on a stone. They lit a fire, and all around the world, humans remembered the man who made gods bleed. The sky was blue again. For the first time in months, there was no voice in the air, no towers glowing, no minds being stolen, no lies called blessings. The Elysiar were gone, burned from the sky by the man who had once whispered, "Gods don't bleed." Now, the whole world knew he was right. Cities began to rise again. Broken buildings were cleaned. Towers were torn down. Humans came out from hiding, blinking at the sun. In every country, across every language, one name was spoken. Rick Hargraves, a soldier, a ghost, a rebel. And now, a legend in the new capital of the resistance built on the ruins of old Geneva. Leaders gathered from every corner of Earth. They didn't sit around tables. They stood in a circle, no one higher than the other. They didn't wear medals. They wore scars, and above them, on a stone wall, was a carved sentence. He made them bleed, so we could rise. Dr. Soul now led the global recovery effort. She worked day and night, healing what was left of the human genome managed by the alien infection. She also studied the Arc Core tech and found something terrifying. The Elysia weren't alone. She said in a broadcast, they were only one piece of a much larger chain. She showed a star map, dozens of systems, all with signs of Elysiar activity. All silent now, except one. A message had been sent before the prime ship died. A final signal. A warning to something even older, even bigger. There's a network out there, Juno said, and we just announced ourselves to it. They'll come, someone asked. Maybe not now, Soul replied, but one day they will. But Earth was ready now, because of RIK Hard. In a quiet valley once used for battle training, a statue was built. It was simple, no crown, just a man standing tall, a strange weapon in one hand, and a rebel flag in the other. The base of the statue read, "Here stood the last man who refused to kneel." Juno visited often. He brought others young fighters, children who'd grown up during the war. He told them stories, how Ricker fought the warden, how he stabbed the herald, how he walked into a god's heart and made it explode. He didn't want to be a hero, Juno would say, just didn't want to be a slave. But then, one day, something strange happened. A scout ship sent to explore the ruins of the prime ship picked up a signal, faint, old, encrypted. They brought it back to Soul. She crypted it. It was a voice, rough, worn out but clear. "If you're hearing this, I made it." Her hands shook. She turned up the volume. "The blast didn't kill me. It threw me into the ship's outer shell. I'm still inside. Don't come for me. It's not safe. But know this, they weren't gods." Pause. Then a soft laugh. They screamed, every one of them, just like cowards. It's like parasites. I made them bleed. Keep going. Keep the fire alive. And if more of them come, a final pause. Make them burn. Then silence. Soul dropped to her knees, crying. He was alive. Somewhere out there, drifting in the wreckage of a fallen god. Rick Hargraves lived now across Earth. New banners rose. Not of countries, not of borders, but of species. One planet. One people. One fire, and under every rebel flag stitched in bold red letters, he made them bleed.